A defendant accused of stealing a car insisted he was innocent because the car followed me home. When the judge asked him to explain, he said the car's GPS must have been programmed to find him. He claimed it was destiny, and therefore not theft. The prosecutor showed footage of him breaking the window and hotwiring it. He still maintained the car, wanted to be with him. A woman sued her neighbor for stealing her sunshine by planting tall trees. She demanded $50,000 for emotional damage from living in shadows. When asked for evidence, she brought in photos of her sad face in the shade. The judge dismissed the case, explaining property owners can plant trees. She left threatening to sue the son next for unequal light distribution. A man told the judge he couldn't have robbed the store because he was allergic to security cameras. He claimed they gave him hives and he'd never go near one voluntarily. The prosecution showed clear footage of him calmly robbing the store with no visible reaction. He insisted it must be his identical twin who wasn't allergic. DNA evidence proved it was him all along. A defendant claimed he didn't need a lawyer because, "I saw a judge on TV once, so I know how this works." He kept saying, "Objection," randomly during his own testimony and tried to cross-examine himself. When the real judge corrected him, he accused her of not following the script from Law and Order. After 2 hours of chaos, he finally accepted a public defender. He later appealed, claiming his own defense was inadequate. A woman insisted she wasn't drunk driving because, "I was only drunk in the car, not while driving it." She explained that she drank the vodka at red lights, so technically she was parked. The breathalyzer showed she was 3 times over the limit. She demanded a retest when the alcohol wears off to prove I can drive sober. The judge revoked her license on the spot. A man sued McDonald's because his cheeseburger didn't make him happy like the Happy Meal promised. He claimed false advertising caused him depression and demanded $1 million in damages. He brought his therapist to testify about his burger-related sadness. The judge explained that Happy Meal is just a name, not a guarantee. He left muttering about suing Burger King for not making him royalty. A shoplifter told the judge he was testing store security as a public service. He insisted he deserved a reward, not punishment, for exposing their weaknesses. When asked why he kept the stolen items, he said he was holding them for evidence. Security footage showed him trying on stolen clothes and eating stolen snacks. He demanded to speak to the store manager about a job in loss prevention. A defendant claimed he couldn't be guilty of breaking and entering because the door was already broken when I entered. He admitted smashing the window but said that was just the entrance, not the breaking part. The homeowner testified that nothing was broken before the defendant arrived. He then argued that breaking and entering should be 2 separate charges. The judge sentenced him for both simultaneously. A woman suing her ex-boyfriend brought a psychic to testify about his future crimes. The psychic claimed to see him stealing her Netflix password in a vision. The judge explained that courts don't accept supernatural testimony or future crimes. She accused the judge of being closed-minded to spiritual evidence. She was escorted out after demanding the jury consult a Ouija board. A man caught speeding told the officer his speedometer was in dog years, so he was actually going slower. In court, he drew elaborate charts explaining his mathematical conversion system. The judge asked why his car would measure speed in dog years. He claimed he bought it from a veterinarian who modified it. He lost his license and was ordered to take a basic physics class. A defendant accused of public intoxication insisted he was just really excited about life. He demonstrated by doing cartwheels in the courtroom and singing loudly. The bailiff had to physically restrain him while he shouted about feeling the energy of the universe. Multiple witnesses testified he'd been drinking from a whiskey bottle on the street. He was found guilty and sentenced to AA meetings, which he called excitement suppression therapy. A woman sued a fortune teller for $10,000 because none of the predictions came true. She claimed emotional distress from false hope about meeting a tall, dark stranger. The fortune teller argued that predictions aren't guarantees and tried to give a refund. The woman refused, insisting she wanted compensatory future predictions instead of money. The judge dismissed the case and suggested she stop believing in fortune telling. A man told the judge he robbed a bank because money isn't real, it's just paper. He launched into a 20-minute lecture about the Federal Reserve and fiat currency. When asked where the stolen money was, he said he returned it to the people by spending it at Walmart. The judge, unamused, explained that philosophical beliefs don't exempt anyone from robbery laws. He got 5 years to contemplate the very real nature of prison. A defendant claimed he wasn't driving under the influence because beer is mostly water, which is healthy. He argued that his blood alcohol level proved he was well hydrated, not drunk. The prosecutor explained that's not how alcohol works. He then asked if he could substitute his jail time with gym membership to sweat out the toxins. The judge sentenced him to 90 days and mandatory alcohol education. A woman suing her hairdresser brought in her cat as a witness. She claimed the cat's reaction to her haircut proved it was botched. When the judge said cats can't testify, she argued her cat was emotionally intelligent and nonverbal testimony should count. She made meowing sounds, claiming to translate the cat's legal opinion. Security removed both her and the cat from the courtroom. A man caught shoplifting claimed he was liberating products from corporate oppression. He gave a passionate speech about anti-capitalism while wearing stolen designer sneakers. When the prosecutor pointed out the irony, he said he was infiltrating the system from within. The store owner just wanted his merchandise back. The judge sentenced him to community service at a charity shop to learn about legitimate ways to help people. A defendant told the judge she couldn't have committed fraud because I'm a Sagittarius, and we're honest. She brought her astrology chart as evidence of her innocence. The prosecutor presented bank records showing $50,000 in fraudulent transactions. She blamed Mercury retrograde for confusing the universe about who did what. The judge, a Capricorn, sentenced her to 3 years regardless of her zodiac sign. A man sued his gym for false advertising because he didn't get ripped after 1 week. He claimed the sign saying, "Transform your body," was a legally binding contract. He admitted he only went once and spent 10 minutes on his phone. The gym owner showed security footage of him eating pizza in the locker room. He lost the case and was banned from the gym for unrealistic expectations. A defendant said he wasn't trespassing because the earth belongs to everyone, man. He'd been living in someone's garage for 3 months without permission. When asked why he chose that specific garage, he said the vibes were immaculate. The homeowner testified about thousands in property damage. He was sentenced to jail, which he called government-sponsored housing with bad vibes. A woman told the judge she ran the red light because red means stop, and stopping in the intersection is dangerous. She created an elaborate theory about how traffic laws are contradictory. The officer testified she was texting and didn't even see the light. She accused him of not understanding her advanced driving philosophy. She paid a $500 fine and attended traffic school. A man caught selling fake Rolex watches claimed they were spiritually authentic. He argued that time is an illusion, so the watches telling the wrong time was philosophically correct. Undercover officers had bought multiple watches that stopped working within days. He offered to cleanse the watches with sage to fix them. The judge sentenced him to 2 years for fraud and criminal philosophy. A defendant accused of assault claimed, "He started it by looking at me wrong." When asked to explain, he said the victim's facial expression was aggressive and threatening. Multiple witnesses testified he punched an innocent bystander unprovoked. He demonstrated the threatening look in court, just looking confused at the ceiling. He was found guilty and ordered to take anger management classes. A woman suing a restaurant claimed their unlimited breadsticks policy was false advertising. She'd eaten 47 breadsticks and was told to stop so other customers could have some. She insisted unlimited means unlimited and demanded $25,000 for emotional distress. The restaurant manager testified she'd made herself sick and refused to leave. The judge ruled that reasonable limits apply and suggested she seek help for her breadstick obsession. A man told the judge he didn't steal the laptop because finders keepers is a legal principle. He found it on a desk in someone's office and thought it was abandoned. When told that's still theft, he argued, possession is 9/10 of the law. The laptop owner testified he'd only left his office for 5 minutes. The defendant was convicted and ordered to pay restitution plus legal fees. A defendant argued she wasn't guilty of tax evasion because taxes are optional suggestions. She'd filed 0 tax returns for 15 years despite earning 6 figures. The IRS agent presented documentation of her income and unpaid taxes. She demanded to speak to whoever is in charge of the tax suggestion box. She owed $200,000 in back taxes plus penalties and interest. A man sued a movie theater because the film didn't match the trailer. He claimed false advertising ruined his Friday night and demanded $5,000. He admitted he'd seen the whole movie but wanted his money back anyway. The theater offered a refund, but he refused, wanting pain and suffering compensation. The judge dismissed the case and told him to read reviews before buying tickets next time. A woman told the judge she couldn't be guilty of hit and run because she didn't know she hit the parked car. Multiple witnesses saw and heard the collision and watched her drive away. She claimed she thought the loud crash was just a pothole. Her car had significant damage and paint from the other vehicle. She was convicted and lost her license for being an obliviously dangerous driver. A defendant claimed he was doing independent research when caught breaking into a pharmacy. He said he was testing their security systems and planned to write a report. When asked why he was filling his bag with prescription medications, he called it evidence collection. The pharmacist testified he'd disabled the alarm and knew exactly where the controlled substances were kept. He got 4 years for burglary and 0 points for creativity. A man suing his ex-wife demanded custody of their shared Netflix account. He claimed he emotionally invested in the viewing history and deserved it in the divorce. His lawyer tried to withdraw from the case 3 times during the hearing. The judge explained Netflix accounts aren't divisible property. He left threatening to sue Netflix for family account discrimination policies. A woman caught driving without a license claimed she had a spiritual license from the universe. She'd never taken a driving test but felt cosmically qualified to drive. When asked about traffic laws, she said, "I follow the laws of nature, not man." She'd caused 2 accidents in 1 week. The judge fined her $1,000 and banned her from driving until she got a real, earthly license. A defendant told the judge he couldn't have vandalized the statue because art is subjective. He'd spray-painted a city monument and called it collaborative public art. The city presented before and after photos and a $15,000 cleaning bill. He offered to sign the artwork to increase its value. He was sentenced to 200 hours of community service cleaning graffiti and art appreciation classes. A man sued a dating app because he didn't find love after 3 months. He demanded $100,000 for breach of romantic promise and wasted time. His profile had 0 photos and his bio said, "Ask me later." The app's lawyer presented their terms of service showing no guarantees. He insisted the word match implied a soulmate guarantee. The judge suggested therapy instead of lawsuits. A woman said she wasn't shoplifting because I was going to pay eventually, just not today. She'd walked out of the store with $300 worth of clothes and no receipt. Security footage showed her removing security tags in the fitting room. She called it delayed payment shopping and a misunderstanding of retail culture. She was banned from the mall and sentenced to probation. A defendant accused of identity theft claimed he was method acting for an audition. He'd opened credit cards and taken loans in someone else's name. When asked what role required identity fraud, he said, "A character who commits identity fraud." The victim testified about $80,000 in fraudulent charges and ruined credit. He was sentenced to 6 years and banned from acting in anything except prison theater. A defendant argued she wasn't guilty of tax evasion because taxes are optional suggestions. She'd filed zero tax returns for 15 years despite earning six figures. The IRS agent presented documentation of her income and unpaid taxes. She demanded to speak to whoever is in charge of the tax suggestion box. She owed $200,000 in back taxes plus penalties and interest.